Afternoon, friends. Ash here, WAT News, with another election and news update. I wanted to kind of cover some other stuff a little bit besides election news and then get back into the election towards the end of the video. Um, because I noticed a trend that's starting to happen with a lot of protests breaking out all across Europe, and I wanted to cover that because it's not getting a lot of press here in the States, that's for sure. Um, Also, I wanted to just quickly apologize for the audio. Somebody made me aware of it, and I had heard it also. But like I said to that person, I'm trying to upgrade my game soon, and I'm just a guy on his computer in his bedroom right now. And I don't have an actual real mic, like a professional setup. I am soon going to upgrade my game. I'm just getting it together. As you could probably tell, I am technically challenged, and I'm doing the best I can with the new technology that I'm trying to learn. I appreciate you guys listening and coming along for the ride. And you know, with that said, uh, I pulled up this article here from Daily Mail. I was trying to just get some basic idea of what the protests are like in Europe right now, what's going on there. Wave of anti-lockdown protests sweeps across Europe. Thousands of furious demonstrators clash with police in cities in Italy and Spain as they urge their governments to abandon new restrictions on their freedom. Yeah, so the same thing's going on, here in the States, man. People are pissed off, right? They're sick of wearing the mask already. They, they all they're reporting is more cases, but how many more people are dying? That's the thing. I mean, in New York, we got down to maybe 9 people dying, and then it becomes, well, are they dying of this thing, or are they dying of like natural causes or the flu? We don't know anymore. Um, anyway, there were clashes in Milan, Turin, in Italy. Meanwhile, in Spain, authorities in the Catalonia region are considering imposing a lockdown on weekends. Comes after nighttime curfew came into effect. I saw part of this article that was a little bit disturbing. Uh, it said that the city's mayor in, where was it, Turin, berated the violent protesters who she said had polluted a demonstration by bar and restaurant owners who are facing another economic slump. In Milan, 28 people were arrested after protesters threw Molotov cocktails at police in the capital of Lombardy, the original epicenter of the virus in Italy, which is now seeing a resurgence of cases. Um, One of these places wanted to do here. The new state of emergency will initially last in Spain for 15 days, but the government plans to ask Parliament for a 6-month extension, meaning the restrictions, which include an 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, could be enforced until early May 2021. And apparently that was for in in Spain, except the Canary Islands. So, people are getting upset, pissed off. Breitbart fears the currency of control. Anti-lockdown protests erupt across the UK. So Breitbart is covering it. Police squared off with hundreds of anti-lockdown protesters in Bristol and Liverpool as resentment spreads throughout the country against Prime Minister Boris Johnson's draconian coronavirus restrictions. You know, just a quick aside about Johnson. When he came in, we thought, oh, they were comparing him to Trump and he's the new Trump, but he turns out that he's a deep state plant. And that's my opinion on it because he hasn't done anything that he was supposed to do. He was supposed to get out of the Brexit. He was supposed to be the force that was going to get England out of Brexit, and then they were going to do a trade deal with the U.S. that was going to be more beneficial, and then the world would see that, and then we could go forward. But that's not what happened. So Boris came in, and what did he do? He locked everybody down, and he did the same thing. He went along with the same program which is the deep state program. There's two things going on here, right? They're calling this a reset. And then there's the Nasara stuff, right? So you have to make a differentiation between that. The reset that these people want, the deep state, is not the reset you want. Because, okay, they'll forgive your student loan or something, but then you can't own any property, right? Which you really aren't allowed to anyway. If you want, go look up alloidal land, ALLOIDAL, right? Means owning land free and clear of the government's intrusion into your land. In other words, you shouldn't have to pay property tax. It's illegal, actually. Shouldn't have to deal with it. But that's another story for another day. Um, Yeah, so people, England's pissed off. Europe is pissed off. They're upset. World Economic Forum. Here's how many people COVID-19 could push into poverty, according to the World Bank. Well, yeah, if I lock you in your house and you can't go to work, or if the business that you work in is closed down because of COVID restrictions, all right, I might not have to pay my rent right away. You're protecting me from that, but how do I eat, right? How do I pay my credit card bill? Is that shut off? How do I pay, right? So there's all kinds of other issues. How do I go to a doctor, right? How do I get my daily checkup so I don't get sicker, right? How do I get sunlight so I'm not getting sick, right? How can I get fresh sun on my face so I can get my vitamin, what is it, D? K? I forgot. Uh, anyway, Breitbart. I wanted to cover this article real quick. I was keeping an eye on this race. Ben McAdams, Democrat Ben McAdams concedes to Burgess Owens in Utah House race. Burgess made it through. This was one of the closest races in the whole thing, and he kept slogging away, Burgess. And congratulations, Mr. Owens. You won your Utah House race. So congratulations. Great job. That was a close one. I wanted to cover this executive order. I was listening to last night to X22 report, Dave, and as always, he had some great stuff, great information, and great insight. And he covered the fact that on September the 12th, 2018, Donald Trump created an executive order, which was executive order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. And it's a semi-long document, but there was a one portion that I thought was very interesting, and I'll read the beginning part in that portion so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Which says here, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the ability of persons located in whole or in substantial part outside the United States to interfere in or undermine public confidence in United States elections, including through the unauthorized accessing of election and campaign infrastructure or the covert distribution of propaganda and disinformation, constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Although there has been no evidence of a foreign power altering the outcome or vote tabulation in any United States election, foreign powers have historically sought to exploit America's free and open political system. In recent years, the proliferation of digital devices and internet-based communications has created significant vulnerabilities and magnified the scope and intensity of the threat of foreign interference. As illustrated in the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with this threat. Now, here's the part where it gets a little more interesting. Accordingly, I hereby order Section 1. Not later than 45 days after the conclusion of the United States election, the Director of the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate executive departments and agencies, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government or any person acting as an agent of or on behalf of a foreign government has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering in that election. The assessment shall identify to the maximum extent ascertainable the nature of any foreign interference and any methods employed to execute it. The persons involved, and the foreign government or government that authorized, directed, sponsored, or supported it. The Director of National Intelligence shall deliver this assessment and appropriate supporting information to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of, sorry guys, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security. Within 45 days of receiving the assessment and information described in Section 1 of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate agencies and as appropriate, state and local officials shall deliver to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, and the Secretary of Defense a report evaluating, with respect to the United States election, that is the subject of the assessment described in Section 1A. So it goes on, and I'll put the link into this if you want to read it in full. And it also sets up penalties for anybody that is associated with anything like that, a foreign agent or foreign governments. It also imposes penalties and can seize certain documents, seize assets. I mean, the interesting thing from earlier on back that I found was that if you read that very closely, right, it could pertain to possibly a press organization, right, that has willingly misinformed the public. And that allegation has been laid at the feet of CNN and other companies like that over time, where the allegations have been made that not that they are necessarily being controlled by a foreign power, but that they are disseminating information that they know to be false. And if that's the case, in the election especially, like for example, uh, a lot of people got angry at Fox News for calling Arizona early before. Now, did they do that on purpose? Were certain things being not called in a timely fashion to affect people's idea of how the race was going? These things could all fall under this executive order, and we'll have to see how it plays out. And you could read it in full at your leisure. But I think this was put in place because Trump knew what they had done in 2018 with some of those vote races that may have been allegedly tampered with, and I think he realized that he had to put something in place to deal with that. And this goes back to, was China printing out ballots illegally too? We don't know that yet. But, if you remember, Trump closed some of those Chinese embassies, and then there was smoke being seen from the rooftops, right? Why were they burning stuff on the roofs of some of these Chinese embassies before they left? What were they disposing of, right? Just papers of theirs, or was it fake ballots? We don't know that. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I just wanted to cover that. So 45 days after the election I checked, is December the 18th, which is a Friday. So a report is going to be generated by the DNI, which is Ratcliffe, in 45 days after the election. And that report is going to detail if there was any foreign interference in the election. And it's going to have details about it. If so, there's going to be data, there's going to be evidence, there's going to be uh, and other stuff. So we'll have to see if this report, when it comes out, what it entails, and when it's released to the public, what will it say? And so there's a lot of stuff we're waiting on to hear. I just wanted to cover a couple of other quick articles I saw that I thought were interesting. One from the Gateway Pundit, and I won't read the whole thing. I'll just let you guys, if you want to check them out later at your leisure, you can. Smartmatic director admitted in 2017 that their system was able to create, quote, at least 1 million phantom votes in that year's Venezuela election. We're starting to hear that this system was used in the Venezuela elections, which there were allegations also of fraud in. So, in August 2017, Smartmatic director Antonio Mujica admitted that the Smartmatic machines and software created at least 1 million phantom votes in the nation's national elections in Venezuela. Mujica added that the fact election observers were not in the room helped Smartmatic machines steal the election. Well, yeah, if nobody's watching you, I can change it up any way I want. That's why I was saying in the 68 election, how many people were in Rockefeller Center getting the tally votes from the other computers in 1968? How many people were in that room, right? Who are those people? Who are they connected to? Who runs them? Who pays their salary? And how can we be sure that is there any independent auditor in that room that's watching what they do? Because if not, then you have a press-controlled entity, right, or some entity could be controlled by an outside person or power that has control of your vote tally. And if there's no independent auditor to watch that tally go through and to make sure that there's no wrongdoing in the system and the machines, and you realize there has to be like an internet guy that's watching this too, because how can I know what you're doing on your computer terminals, right? How do I know what someone is doing in another country, possibly with access to these systems? There's no way you can control it all, right? It's not compartmentalized. It's wide open. I was trying to find some news about Australia. It's really I feel like we're kind of in the dark about what's going on down there. Uh, What will it take for Trump to concede defeat? They seem to think that Trump's done down under, but it's not over that yet. Um, Victoria pledges Australia's biggest energy efficiency drive. There's really nothing about COVID in here. It seems like they're not on a lockdown. From zero to outbreak, how Adelaide's COVID calm was shattered. Doesn't seem like there's any news coming out of Australia too much. And I found this last article. Dominion confirms Clinton Foundation donation. Pelosi staffer tied but disputes other claims. All right. Well, you're connected to Pelosi, and you're also connected to now the Clinton Foundation, at least through a donation. And there's a video here. Let's see. We can listen to this video real quick, and then I'll end the video on that.
Well, Senator Joe Biden, he's been called president-elect. Is that too premature at this point?
That is premature. People can choose to call him whatever they choose to call him. I call him Joe Biden at this point because he doesn't have a title right now. All the ballots haven't been certified. We don't know yet who's going to end up being the eventual winner on that. We'll get through the count, and then we'll know. So there's a certification process we have to be able to go through. That'll be done by December 14th. Right now, there is dispute between the two different people that were competing for this. Obviously, current President Trump and then Joe Biden as well. We don't know yet who the final winner is, and when we go through this process, we'll know. But I'm not trying to declare it early on this. I know a lot of folks in some media outlets are trying to declare it early. We went through 37 days of evaluation of this in 2000, and somehow our country survived in it. So GSA has by law the requirement to ascertain who the winner is, and then to be able to help the winner then to be able to do their transition. It gets them security clearances, it gets them transition space, IT support, all of those things as well. GSA doesn't have the legal authority or constitutional authority to ascertain if it's a disputed election. We don't know who the election is. And liberals around the country are trying to be able to run into GSA and to say, force the issue, make them submit at this point. That's not GSA's role. GSA is an entity that's trying to work on government efficiency, but also has the responsibility for transition. One of the things that I've challenged GSA on is this, is say, walk through the metrics of how we actually get to a national security clearance. Because in 2000, when there was the last big disputed election, at that time, candidate Bush was cut off from getting intel briefings. Many people don't know you get intel briefings as soon as you declared the Republican or the Democrat candidate. So Joe Biden, for instance, has been receiving intel briefings for months at this point, but those stop as soon as the election occurred until we know who the actual winner is. I think we should continue doing the briefings the same as it was during the campaign time period, because we're still in the campaign. We don't know who the winner is at this point.
Well, so that's that.
Well, Senator Joe.
Sorry, guys. So I guess I'll end the video there. A lot of unknowns, a lot of stuff going on. But if you notice, he said that December the 14th they sign off. And then 4 days after that date that he said on the 14th is this report's going to come out. It says not later than. So it could come out before 45 days. But the latest that it could come out is December the 18th. So there's a lot of stuff still to come, right? We have the Georgia recount tomorrow will end. And, yeah, it's going to end tomorrow at 11:59. And then we'll know about Georgia and have to see how everything else plays out. So with that, guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope the sound is better. There was some dust in the microphone. And I cleaned it out. And hopefully it's a little bit clearer. If not, I'm going to be getting the mic soon. Appreciate all you guys listening to my reports, and this is Ash, WAT News, signing off.